After weeks of speculation, the Trump administration is prepping to roll out a sweeping series of travel restrictions targeting citizens from 43 countries, including Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Bhutan, according to the New York Times. These new restrictions are expected to be more far reaching than those imposed during Trump's first term, marking a significant shift in US immigration policy. So, what is this travel ban all about? Which are the countries in the list? We explain. It all began on the 28th of January, the day of Trump's inauguration, when he signed an executive order calling for a review of countries with insufficient vetting and screening processes. This directive tasked the cabinet members, including the Secretary of State, with compiling a list of countries where national security could be at risk due to lax information sharing or other vulnerabilities. Trump said the goal was to protect US citizens from aliens who intend to commit terrorist attacks, threaten our national security, espouse hateful ideology, or otherwise exploit the immigration laws for malevolent purposes. Now, as a 60-day deadline to submit a report to the White House approaches, we have a clearer picture of what's on the table. The New York Times has obtained a draft list of the travel restrictions, which is divided into three main categories: the red list, the orange list, and the yellow list. Countries on the red list will see a complete ban on travel to the US. This includes some of the usual suspects from Trump's previous policies like Afghanistan, Libya, North Korea, Syria, and Yemen. But it also extends to others such as Bhutan, Cuba, Iran, Venezuela, and Sudan. Now, moving on to the orange list, it doesn't impose a full travel ban but does significantly limit access. While wealthy business travelers might still be allowed to enter, immigrant or tourist visas won't be issued, and citizens will face mandatory in-person interviews before entering the United States. Countries on this list include Belarus, Eritrea, Haiti, Myanmar, Russia, Pakistan, and South Sudan. And finally, the yellow list, it's a bit of a warning zone. It includes 22 countries that will have 60 days to fix the issues flagged by the United States. If they don't, they could face harsher restrictions. The concerns revolve around problems like failing to share information about travelers, weak passport security practices, or the troubling issue of countries selling citizenship to people from banned nations, thus creating a loophole around the system. Countries on the yellow list include Angola, Cambodia, Mali, Zimbabwe, and Vanuatu, among others. The clock is ticking, and these countries will need to demonstrate improvement to avoid being moved to the red or orange lists. These new proposed travel restrictions are not just an extension of the Muslim ban that Trump introduced during his first term, though they have some similar elements. The original bans targeted Muslim-majority countries along with several low-income nations, especially those in Africa. The policies evolved over time, facing legal challenges that delayed their implementation. But in 2018, the Supreme Court upheld a version of the ban which remained in place until President Biden took office in 2021. One of his first actions was to rescind these bans and revert to a system that focused on individualized vetting instead of blanket country bans. Now the Trump administration is revisiting a much broader and more complex approach which could have far-reaching implications for global travel. While it is still subject to review by embassy officials, security experts, and intelligence agencies, this new list is expected to be finalized soon. The White House will likely make further adjustments as it vets the final recommendation. As the situation unfolds, one thing is clear: these restrictions signal that the Trump administration is taking a much more aggressive stance on immigration, national security, and foreign relations than we saw during his first term. For more updates on this new US travel ban, stay tuned to the official YouTube channel of the Indian Express.